Joining us, MS Now reporter Alex Tabbitt, who's been on this story for us in Tucson, MS Now Justice and Intelligence reporter Ken Dilanian, and a former member of the FBI's hostage rescue team and MS Now national security and intelligence analyst, Rob D'Amico. So, Alex, 10 days, no break so far. This is the first one yet. What's it like out there?
It's an absolutely major development after so long with so little information coming out. And right now we have 3 videos, 6 photos released between both the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Office. And those videos allow us to now get a new look at this subject. It's to be able to see the ski mask, the backpack, the handgun that appears to be on his belt. As you noted, his gait, the way that this man walks, his jacket. We also see this man in these videos grab flowers from the front porch of Nancy Guthrie's home, which is directly behind me, and use that to try to cover up the doorbell camera. So this is hugely helpful as the FBI is inquiring the public for tips, trying to get people to call in and say, hey, I might have seen that a person with that backpack. Hey, I might have seen that person with that jacket. This is a significant break in this case. There's also 2 other things that we should note here, Katie. One is that this video was recovered, according to FBI Director Kash Patel, was recovered from residual data located in back-end systems. We're learning from these photos that the camera which Nancy Guthrie used was a Nest camera. We heard from Chris Nanos, the Pima County Sheriff here, that he had been working with big tech companies. Nest is owned by Google. It appears that Google helped provide these new photos. So that is one big development. And the other one is what you noted here, Katie, that Savannah Guthrie just posted on her social media that, quote, we believe she is still alive. Bring her home. There is still hope with the Guthrie family, and there's hope with people here. People have been coming to this home all day today, all day yesterday, praying for the return of Nancy Guthrie. Katie? Yeah,
and Savannah's also posting that somebody's going to recognize this person. Somebody will notice something about them that is familiar, and she's asking if anybody does recognize it to please call law enforcement immediately. Rob, listen, there's a lot unknown still. The person's face is almost largely entirely covered. These images are the first ones we've seen in 10 days. But do you believe there is enough there to potentially identify this person, or at least to significantly narrow the pool of people that it could be?
I think what's going to happen is someone's going to see something that they recognize. And we talked about the gait is so important. I was told I could be seen 100 yards away and they knew my gait. So I think that's important. I think the jacket, because I think the jacket is going to give them, now they have video from surrounding areas and convenience stores and all kinds of other things that they can look through, that they can match the jacket. And obviously, if he's at a convenience store, he's not going to be with the mask on. And then they can take a picture of him without the mask that matches the jacket. I think that's going to be big. All these other things that are going to come out. You have now millions of people looking at this that are going to recognize something. We talked about the wearing of the gun just is odd. I've never seen someone wear it in the front like that. So someone may recognize that. It did kind of, I thought we were dealing with kind of more sophistication, that they reconnaissance this. They knew exactly where the door camera was. And to me, this points to someone that didn't know that. If they're using foliage, there's ways to defeat a camera coming up. We do security assessments where we red cell people's security and company security. I work with a bunch of guys from the covert side of the military that do this all the time. And we can come up very specifically and not be seen and get that camera covered up quickly. And then sometimes you just take the camera if you don't want things like this to come out. So the fact that they didn't do that, I think, puts them in a different class. Obviously, they pulled this off, but I'm looking at it now, trying to level the sophistication. And again, that's what the FBI is doing when they're talking about this to themselves and figuring out. But this is kind of, it's like the thread. This one thing is going to lead to something else. And we looked at it in so many of the shootings, like in Boston. It was one video that led to this, that led to the next thing. And I think this is what's exciting about this. But you also have to look at it. Unfortunately, the family seeing this, I think, is, even though they know it's a break, I think it's going to bring into the reality of what happened to their mother much more than just thinking about it. Now they're seeing an armed person walking up and deliberately doing something that was about to go in the house that now has kidnapped them. And I think it is
Yeah.
tremendously hard on them right now to look at this.
Yeah, extremely scary. I mean, just looking at this video, seeing the still images certainly sent a chill through my spine just when they popped up. In terms of the information about the person, you were talking a moment ago, Rob, about the gun and where it was placed. Does that also seem to indicate to you that the person is right-handed, for instance?
Most likely, as the gun, the handle faces to the right, he most likely draws with his right hand. It's odd, though, because I shoot right-handed, but I write left-handed. It does say something about that and how they carry it, but they're going to look at all kinds of things with that. They're going to probably get the dimensions of the gun, try to figure out what kind of gun it is specifically. And they probably just got this video and came right out with it, which, you know, is a good thing. But now they also have the FBI has some unbelievable technicians back in Quantico, the national level folks that do the video. There's people in the field that do certain things, but the real experts back in Quantico, they can take this video, even though it's black and white, and they can start enhancing it. They can start measuring. They're going to get a height and a weight on this guy. They're going to get, you know, exacts on that. And then, as you talked about earlier, all the things with the facial recognition, even though you can't come to this, I think with AI and all the measurements they can get out of it, they can start putting things together to put out there, and it may come on a couple different, you know, venues of what he may look like. And again, someone's going to put that together with the jacket, with the gait, with the gun, how he wears it, or something that's going to clue him in. Now, hopefully that person is on the right side of the law, is going to make a phone call. That's the other thing that you need.
Yeah. Will they also be able to tell relative age? You know, how are they going to be able to rule out certain extreme ends of the age spectrum? It seems like the person, just from my viewing, is on the younger side from the ease with which they walk. I mean, that's obviously just me guessing. But there's that element of it, Rob. But there's also the person appears to be alone from this video. Does this suggest to law enforcement that it could have been one person acting alone?
I doubt it. To me, just you know, when dealing with, I think it was one person who you know went to the door. Dealing with an elderly woman that is not mobile. That needs medication, and I think I've seen something out there, but she had, you know, hard time walking, you know, 50 yards or whatever. One person, you know, overcoming her, you know, even an elderly woman that's, you know, fighting for her life can put up a fight, and you don't want to harm her too bad. I think there's probably more than one involved. I would be surprised if it was just one. And then again, how did they get her out of there? Because they couldn't walk too far, so there had to be some type of vehicle involved in this, and where was that put? And obviously, it could have been a getaway driver and two went up or something along those. They're trying to figure that out now.
Yeah.
And they did take another camera off the roof the other day, and it was hooked up to a solar panel, it looked like. And I think it was looking at the area. They may be able to get something off of that. This one has been, now that they figured out how they got this from the other camera, they may be able to duplicate that on the other camera if it was the same type of camera and it had the same, you know, abilities.
Why did it take so long to get this?
I think they were working and they hadn't done it before. I think I think Nest is obviously cooperating, and you know, the chief security officer at Google is a former SEAL, former hostage rescue team member, unbelievable guy, and he does work with law enforcement when they have to. So I think that they came and said, hey, let's get our engineers to really look at this. This is the data that this is, even though they're not on a subscription, obviously something's going back and forth that was hooked up to Wi-Fi, unless it was something that retained video on the device itself. Maybe there's some type of memory in it, some type of like RAM memory. And they got it that way, or if it was some back end one where something was going across the internet, even though it wasn't on a subscription where they were saving it. I do think I've already seen a lot of privacy things out there about Ring, the Super Bowl commercial about the lost dog and how you can find your dog now with Ring cameras, that the privacy folks are really starting to understand if you have cameras in your house, even if you don't have a subscription, there's things you can get out of it. And as a law enforcement person or former law enforcement, I like that because so many crimes are solved with these cameras. We see it all the time in these mass shootings and these other things. A piece of Ring video or this one, the Nest video, is putting something out that we didn't know before. But it also talks to how much surveillance is out there when we don't even realize.